We believe that personal safety isn't a privilege, it's a right, and that every woman deserves the strategy and tools to own it every single day. We live in a world where strength, awareness, and action aren't optional, they're essential. Our work, built from military service and decades of experience in law enforcement and recovery, is about one thing: empowering you to own your safety without fear. This isn't about living cautiously. It's about living powerfully. Welcome to Defensive Living by Design.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. We are so glad that you're here. I am Laura, proud Army veteran.
And I'm Joy, retired deputy sheriff. And we are so glad today to share with you some safety things that you may not have thought of before.
Let's start with an Army bait and switch. Some of you may be familiar. I enlisted with a big dream. I wanted to be a psychologist because I wanted to make a difference and I wanted to help people. And my recruiter was all for it, right up until the time it came time to sign on the dotted line. And then he changed my MOS. He said that the Army really needed women to work in Pershing nuclear missiles. Because, as we all know, nothing says helping people quite like weapons of mass destruction. But I signed up anyway, still thinking I could make a difference, one missile at a time. So I went to school in intense training for a year on computers and missile technology, and I worked hard, and I got good grades, and I graduated. And then it was time for the moment of truth. It was time to get my permanent orders. And I got them to the typing pool. That's right, the typing pool. Are you kidding me? The typing pool? Not that there's anything wrong with that. We all need admins, but I did not work that hard and that long to type memos and file papers. But here's the plot twist. I didn't roll over. Absolutely not. I found an ally. Me, Sergeant Holmes. Sergeant Holmes saved my assets from the typing pool. Sergeant Holmes was the NCO in charge of the technical equipment at the Pershing School. And I wound up going to work for Sergeant Holmes using the technology that I had been trained on. And Sergeant Holmes told me later that he went to bat for me because he saw that I was a hard worker and he saw how sharp I was. Now, that Army recruiter thought that I was just a dumb one. But Sergeant Holmes and I knew better. And together, we overcame the Army's typing pool scam. Because if there's one thing we military women know how to do, it's adapt and overcome.
I grew up watching cop shows. Surprise! And I thought, that's it. That's what I want to do. I want to catch bad guys. But people would say, it's dangerous. It's a man's job. There's hardly any women in it. So I applied to the police department. And application process was designed to weed out those that aren't dedicated, and I was determined to do this. So after a gauntlet of interviews, the final hurdle was a grueling physical fitness test in the middle of the Florida summer heat. First, a half-mile run. Brutal. Then, an agility course of 16 stations, like jumping through a window, climbing a 6-foot wall, dragging a 150-pound dummy, and so much more. And then, for the finale, off to the pool, the swimming pool. So I waited in the sun for my turn. But here's the thing. It was pass or fail. If you passed, you had a career. If you failed, you needed to start the whole process over. It was simple, but not easy. Tread water for a minute, and then retrieve a 10-pound weight from the bottom of the pool. Bring it to the top. You had one chance, and one chance only to do it. I waited for my turn in the sun, and I watched 3 big men fail and be pulled out of the pool one by one by rescue. They all stared at me. I was the only woman. No pressure. My turn. I jumped in. I was so tired. I'm treading water. Let's take the deep breath. I took the deepest breath possible and powered down. And I looked for that weight and I found it. I started heading back for the top. Oh, I'm halfway there. I start hearing cheering. Oh, I made it. I almost started laughing. And then, you know what? The weight dropped from my hand and sank. I had a split second to decide, fight or fail. With all the strength I had left, I mustered up, I turned myself around, and I dove down one more time to find the weight. I found it, and I grabbed it, and I started heading back for the top. But I'm tired. My arms and legs are killing me. They feel like lead. My chest feels like it's going to explode. Just a little bit more. I don't know. One more push. I barely have enough strength. And I pushed that weight through into the air. I made it. I passed. I made the force. I made it when weaker men didn't. So here's the thing. Strength isn't just physical. The ability to navigate the world safely and confidently takes something more than that. It's more than muscle and strength. It's something deeper, something instinctual. And that's what we're going to share with you here today.
So how can you keep yourself safe? It all starts with what we call your safety intuition, which is also known as situational awareness. And safety intuition isn't anything magical. It's your body's 5 senses reporting back about your environment to your subconscious. Did you know that your subconscious can process 11 million bits of information per second? But your conscious mind can only process 40 of those bits. So think of it, 11 million versus 40. And what that says is that your subconscious is aware of danger long before your conscious mind can keep up. So let's look at it this way. This iceberg is your subconscious, and it's taking in information all the time about your environment, sight, sound, smells, etc., and it's processing it all the time. But see that little red tiny dot at the top, the tip of the iceberg? That's your conscious mind trying to keep up. So if you were sitting at home and you're watching television and you have the windows open and cars are driving by and your neighbors are driving by and they're chatting and everything, you're not really paying attention to all of that, but your subconscious is. And then you hear a baby cry. What? What was that? And all of a sudden, it floats to the front of your conscious mind. And that subconscious, though, is still keeping track of all of that other information. Joy and I were on the train in Boston. The train stopped, and this big guy walked in. And there wasn't really anything startling about him, but he just kind of gave me a bad vibe. But he was coming toward us, so I couldn't nudge Joy or anything. But I just thought, something's wrong, something's wrong. And then he sat down right across from us, staring at us. Without a word, Joy and I both stood up and walked out the door. Instincts in sync. Now, how many times has something like that happened to you? Where you knew that something was off, but you couldn't quite put your finger on it. Now, I'll tell you the PS to that story is the instant we got up and walked out, the guy started muttering to himself. And that confirmed what both Joy and I thought something was wrong. And this guy was, like I said, within 3 feet of us. So that's why we want to encourage you as women that when you start to think that something is off, something just doesn't seem right, that you pay attention to that information as soon as you possibly can. You don't have to wait for an incident. You can take action beforehand. Because here's the thing about women. Our social conditioning, our training to be polite and considerate, which we are all for, but it compromises our situational awareness. So we are constantly paying attention to other people. How do I look? What do they want? Is there a red flag? Oh, I'm probably overreacting. So that subconscious goes from 11 million to 40, and research shows that in women, it's reduced by more than 50% because we are so busy paying attention to other people. I personally have sat in many safety classes taught by men with good intentions who say, ladies, if you have situational awareness, if you are situationally aware, head on a swivel, you will keep yourself safer. What they don't understand is what we are trained to do is to attend to other people before we attend to ourselves, even our own safety. They don't know because they don't have our lived experience. So, If our situational awareness is reduced by our social conditioning, how can we increase it? How can we raise it up? We really like the work of Amy Herman. Amy Herman is an attorney and an art historian who teaches people who observe for a living, like the military, like the police, like even the FBI, how to use art to increase their observational skills. And she wrote a book that we're a big fan of called Visual Intelligence. And in her book, she talks all about how art can help us increase our observational skills and to keep ourselves safe, because society keeps conditioning us to be polite and to say everything's okay. So let's take a look of an example by Amy Herman, and we'll see what we're talking about. Meet Mrs. Winthrop. Mrs. Winthrop was painted by John Copley, I think in 1778, and you can visit Mrs. Winthrop today at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. And Amy Herman says this painting is an ideal way to practice observational awareness. And so let's take a look at this scene just for a second and see what we can determine about the who, what, where, and when of this scene. So I'll tell you, when I first took a look at it, I saw that Mrs. Winthrop has on a blue dress. She's sitting in a red chair. She has on a bonnet and a little bow. She's holding some fruit. She's wearing a wedding ring. But Amy Herman said, guess what? The point of studying Mrs. Winthrop for observational awareness is not Mrs. Winthrop herself. It's the reflection that the artist painted in the mahogany table. So the artist not only painted Mrs. Winthrop, he painted her reflection. You can see her arm, her sleeves, even the small piece of fruit. But if you look closely, and this is how art helps us, if you look closely, her wedding ring is missing. So what does that tell us? Did the artist really wish that Mrs. Winthrop wasn't married? Did the artist have a situation with Mr. Winthrop? We don't know. But it's fun to look at, and by studying this and recognizing the observation that Mrs. Winthrop's wedding ring reflection is missing, we can start to observe these details in our daily life. And you don't have to go to the art museum to do this. Just take a minute, like Amy Herman talks about, pause and observe. When you're out on the street, when you walk out of your house in the morning, when you're going into the Publix parking lot, just take a minute. Look around. You don't have to stay in the red zone. Nobody wants that. But what are you seeing? Without judging, oh, there's somebody over there, there's somebody over there. Okay, that all looks good. But if you do see something out of the ordinary, then take action. And that's what Joy is going to talk about.
So years on the street, 28, I needed to pay attention to everything around me all day long. Whatever call I went to, wherever I was, whether I was or wasn't on a call. And it's the same thing today. So what I needed to do when I was working was pay attention to everything, like Amy Herman talks about, details. Observational awareness. So observational surveillance is what it is. It's your whole area, wherever you are. So you don't want to get tunnel vision when you're out somewhere. So you're walking to the parking lot, you need to just briefly scan the whole area. And all you're doing is just taking a look around. What you're doing is you're picking up all these little clues for your subconscious, like we just said. Your subconscious needs this information from the environment. So if you're not paying attention and you're on your phone and you're just paying attention to this one person, I have to walk to my car, I just have to do this one thing, I have to look at my phone, you're missing this. So you're not paying attention to some of the other things that are probably right in front of you. Unfortunately, there are a lot of scary things out there, and a lot of times they don't always look like this. But sometimes they do, and we just miss them because we're looking past them instead of just looking and wondering, why? Why does this person look like this? Why are they dressed like this? This is what we want to put into our subconscious. Just a brief look at our surroundings. Also, I pay attention to, and I did when I was working, I pay attention to people's hands. What are they doing when they're talking to you? And we're talking about unknown people out and around. We don't care what your friends are doing. We're talking about the unknown people that are talking to you and they're too close to you. Why are they too close to you? That's for you to pay attention and turn around and look and see. Are they getting close to you when you're moving away? These are things to just pay attention to. Pickpockets are masters of deception and fast hands. Laura has a story.
Joy and I were in Barcelona, and I had to take the train to work. Right before I left the hotel room, Joy said, "Watch out for pickpockets." I said, "Yeah, okay." I was at the train station trying to figure out the ticket machine, and two women came up and tried to help me. I was so glad because they were trying to help me. You know, the ticketing station was in Spanish. I had no idea what I was doing. And I happened to look down, and one of them had her hand in my bag. So I did what women from the dawn of time did when we are in situations where we don't know what else to do. I pretended nothing happened. So I took my bag, I switched it to my other hip, I zipped it up, and I kept talking to them. None of us acted as though anything had happened. Now, in my defense, it was 2 against 1, and there was nobody else in the train station. What else was I going to do? Now, the worst part was when I had to go back and tell Joy that she had been right about the pickpockets. But Joy also told me, you know what? If they'd been any good, you never would have seen them. So now I learned the hard way, and I did the research for you. Do not keep all of your money in one spot while you're traveling or anyplace else. Now, I keep it in inside pockets. I keep a little bit here and a little bit there, because I learned that people do have fast hands. And those hands can not only be used to steal from you, they can also be used to attack you. Joy?
Very true. So we talk about shams, scams, and cons, and we've all been there one way or another. Something has happened to all of us, including us. So how can we keep ourselves safe? So especially in person, on the phone, and online. The old advice was trust but verify. And now we're flipping the script and saying verify, then trust. So think of it like this. You've heard of two-factor authentication, where you need to get into your account online and you add your password and they send you a code to your phone, and then you have to add an extra step. And everybody's, it's just too much work. The problem is that extra step is a little bit work, but it's what you need. You need that extra step to keep people out, unauthorized people from getting into your account. And that's what that's for. So think about it as your front door. So having a lock is fine, but it could be better. So adding a deadbolt makes it even better. So that's how you can keep yourself protected with that extra layer of security.
But what if you took two-factor authentication and put it across your entire life? So scammers are everywhere these days, especially with technology. How can you use two-factor authentication, verify, then trust, to really be a lot safer in your everyday life? Let's look at a few instances. So you may have heard about the grandparent scam. Actually, they just busted a ring this week, a ring out of Canada. And the grandparent scam goes like this. Your grandchild or your child calls you and says, "Grandma, I've been in a car accident, I need money." And so that's been going on against retirees for a long time. But now we have AI that clones their voice and makes it sound just like your family member. So let's say Bobby, your grandson, calls and says, "Grandma, I've been in an accident, I need money." How can you use two-factor authentication and verify before you trust that it's actually Bobby? We suggest having a family password that you plan ahead and you talk to your family about having a family password. Something unusual like zebra. So if Bobby calls and says, "Grandma, please send some money, I've been in an accident," zebra, oh, you know it's Bobby. If you don't hear zebra from Bobby, well, then you've already talked about it ahead of time, so you know it's a scam, and you don't have to get panicked and wonder what's going to happen. I better just go ahead and spend the money. Here's another instance, and I have seen this personally a number of times. A utility worker, or somebody who's dressed like a utility worker, comes to the door. Knock, knock, knock. Well, I've been in people's houses, and they say, "Wait a second, I gotta go answer the door," and they open the door. I'm like, what are you? Here's an instance where somebody was killed, a 72-year-old was killed by somebody posing as a utility worker just this week. So if it's a utility worker or FedEx or whoever, how can you keep yourself safe and know that they are who they say they are? Well, let them stand there without you opening the door. And you call the utility company, you call FedEx, you call whoever you have to call to verify that that person is who they say they are. And so many times, especially we women, we feel bad. We don't want them to stand outside. Oh, those poor people, they're standing out in the sun. What's more important? Somebody who is legitimately trying to do business and doesn't mind that you're going to call their place of business, or you getting robbed or worse. We say, let them stand there. And finally, you know this, but we're going to remind you, do not click on links in your email. If the IRS wants to get a hold of you, if Chase Bank wants to get a hold of you, go to your account and log in. If they say that they need to talk to you about something, call them, go to the site, log in, do not click the link.
Can I just say something else now?
Sure.
There's two scams going on also for the toll road.
Yes.
And
The texts. The text. Joan, if you're getting a text you know, a lot of these texts tend to be threatening. And you haven't paid this. And you go, well, I used the toll. You know, so you panic, and you know you shouldn't click that, but you panic because you keep getting it. Now, well, that's the third one I got. Oh, I got 6 last week. I better hit the button. No, don't hit the button. All you need to do is go to the Florida toll or whichever one that you do, you know, if you go to that. But it's all the same. So what we want you to do is that extra layer of verification. So think of it as your front door, lock the door, add the deadbolt, and protect yourself. Securing your home. Your home is your safe space, and that's how it should feel. Now, we're not saying this to scare you. We're saying this to empower you so you can do things to shore up your personal security. So there are 3 ways that your home security can be compromised. One, like we're talking about the scams, is opening the door to the unknown. 2 is leaving your home unsecured. And I see this all the time, is the garage door being open. Unless you're in the garage, close the door. Everything you can do to secure the house helps. There are a lot of transient people in the area. It's all public. There's lawn people, and the list goes on. Delivery people, and people that frequent the neighborhood tend to see these things. Oh, they leave that open. Oh, you don't need to tell people, especially people that aren't your friends, that you're not going to be home. So can you take care of this around the house? I'm not going to be home. No, you don't need to put that out there. So the third thing is burglary. It can happen, but what can we do to keep ourselves safe? So, 1, we can shore up some of the physical security. So let's look at our entry points. Our front door, we can fix the old locks and change them out for, put in some different deadbolts. You can put in electronic or keyless. You can use a pick-proof door jamb, and it doesn't matter where you live. Maybe you have a home somewhere else, and we're going to talk about this in just a little bit. A portable pick-proof door jamb helps when you're traveling, so it's just an extra step. Also, if you don't already have a peephole in your front door, you need to see a full image of the person outside. So if you have a window nearby, or you don't, or you have a solid door, a peephole will help you. And now they have those wider ones where you can actually see the full body, because, well, people knock and they lie, and they say there's somebody else. Also, it's good to have security film on the windows. That's an extra layer of protection. That's like body armor for your house. Just another layer of security. And electronic surveillance. How many people have that? That's great. You can use it while you're at home. If you don't know, you can use it while you're at home and while you're traveling, because it's on your phone. So nobody knows when you're home or you're not. You can answer it from your phone. So it's inexpensive, and it's just a great addition for extra security, and you always know what's going on without having to open the door. So my favorite is personal safety tools. How many people carry personal safety tools? Anything. Well, you're gonna.
You gave it to me last year.
There. Did you take it out of the package?
Yes.
One of my favorites is pepper spray or pepper gel. So they come in so many different types now, you don't even know what it looks like, and it's good because predators and other. I'm sorry.
The airport, TSA took mine away from me.
Yes, this is the one thing you cannot bring through, but there are a few other things that you can bring through. So what's great about pepper spray and pepper gel is pepper gel will stick to the person's face a little longer. And what you want to do is, obviously you don't want them too close to you, so get your arm out and then spray like you're spraying a bug. Spray from ear to ear. And that's how you have to do it. And also you want to verbalize. So whenever you're using anything, and even if you don't have anything on you, then you're going to be loud. You want to cause a scene. So if you're using any type of sprays, say, get away from me, something. Be loud, verbalize, call out for somebody, you know, can you help me? Something to let people know. Do it. One of the other things that you can carry when you're traveling is a sonic alarm. So it doesn't come with a spray, some do, but this can be heard 3 or 4 football fields away. So it is a very loud alarm, and of course if someone was coming close enough to attack you, the sound of it alone is deafening. So, you know, that's something, but again, still, if you're going to use one of these, carry it with you and have it accessible, but also remember to verbalize. Put the two of them together, so, because a lot of these sonic sounds could sound like a car alarm to somebody, and after a while we don't listen to those things, and like your subconscious, things get tuned out. Our next one is a favorite, is bear spray. And if anybody walks the dog, or they know, there's been bears and other animals out in the area, and we have used bear spray. Bear spray, and you can get it online and you can get it locally. Bear spray can shoot a stream of irritant 25 to 30 feet. So you don't need to be close to the 4-legged or 2-legged predator. But because of the bear spray size, obviously you're not carrying this in your pocket, so let's resort to the pepper spray or pepper gel. This is, you can carry it in your car along with Hornet spray. If you don't have that, that's easy to buy, quick to have. And it's good to have in your car for traveling and road trips, just so you have something quick and easy to use if you're at the gas station and you need to put a little distance between you and somebody who's coming close to you. So there's the spray distance. Pepper spray can spray 10 to 12 feet, and you don't want anybody closer than that. So if they're starting to get close, out comes the pepper spray. Solo travel. Plan it like a mission, and we know that you travel. We saw the fashion show. So you're all ready to go. Now, what are we going to do to prepare? So if you're going with your friends, let them know where you're going. So keep in contact with them, share your itinerary with them, whether they're with you on the trip or not. Let them know where you are. Some of the things that you can use additionally is, this is a portable door jamb alarm. It's battery operated, something that you can carry on the plane. And you put it underneath the door. It sets off, again, a very loud sonic alarm. So this is great for a cruise cabin or a hotel room. So it's an extra bit of security besides the double lock that you're going to do, obviously, when you're in there. This also can stop 600 pounds of pressure of somebody pushing against it. So it's very beneficial and good to carry with you.
Where can we get
you can also get those online. And this is what we're talking about this is good for hotels and getaways. So and you can also use this at home. So this is a pick-proof plate. So it's portable, and it's just that extra layer of security that someone's not going to be able to pick the lock to get into your room or home. Just an extra step. Also for flying, we have some other tools. So this is, obviously you all need an umbrella. This is a tactical umbrella. So a little extra, it has a steel handle. So not only is it good for the rain, but in case somebody gets a little too close, you know how to do it, military people. All right, so there's that. And our tactical pen, made of steel. It is a real old pen. They said that it does have rescue. So you can disclose that. It is a real pen. And on the other end is a steel tip that can break glass, or it can be used on somebody. So arms, legs, whatever you have to do, but this can cause some pain. So at least it's something that you can carry with you for close contact protection. You can get it from us. Okay. Or you can get it online. Tactical pen. And there's also, because you need this when you're traveling, is who doesn't need a light? So it's a steel flashlight. So it's a tactical flashlight. So again, it's something to have in your hand other than your hands. Nobody wants to do hand-to-hand combat, especially me. So it's something to have with fits in your hand. Obviously, you can take it anywhere. And if you needed to break glass, it's steel online.
So we want to thank you for coming to our talk today. We hope that you found it beneficial, you found it helpful. We hope we accomplished our mission by making you more confident and more empowered. We believe that safety is not about fear. Safety is being prepared and being confident, and again, being empowered and enjoying your life.
Thank you, vets, for your resilience, your strength, and most of all, your service.